We have before us a multitude of RSs.
I move to introduce RS 33203, RS 32879, RS 33046, RS 33137, RS 33157, RS 33188C1, RS 33189, RS 33198, RS 33207, RS 33235, RS 33248, RS 33256, RS 33257, RS 33300, RS 33091C1, RS 32823C1, RS 33276, RS 33319, RS 33350, RS 33357, RS 33358, and RS 33346.
Scintillating, I know. And with that, the fifth week of the 2026 session in the books. Today was the deadline to submit an RS into a non-privileged committee like the House Judiciary Rules and Administration Committee that you just heard from, with a total of 22 RSs, a legislative dozen maybe. Now, if you don't know, these print hearings that you kind of just heard determine if an RS turns into an actual bill or piece of legislation. They just sort of blew through all of them at once there. During that hearing, Chairman Bruce Skog said not even all of those RSs will get a hearing in front of the public, even though they are now all bills. He told us there just won't be time to get to all of them, so the committee will prioritize ones that have support from you, the public, and lawmakers as well. While those possible pieces of legislation wait for further movement, several proposed bills gained momentum this week. Here's a look back on the last 5 days in the Capitol. A bill could allow businesses to be held liable if someone uses the bathroom that does not align with their sex assigned at birth. The hotly debated part of this bill deals with the common law doctrine of premises liability. What is that? Well, it requires all public buildings, restaurants, shops, etc. maintain their property in a safe manner, so like making sure there's no ice on the sidewalk someone could slip on. This bill would define allowing anyone to use the bathroom on their property of their quote-unquote non-biological sex as a violation of that, and the owner could be sued. The bill's supporters say this would protect everyone's privacy and safety. Opponents say this would require too much proof to actually enforce, like photographic evidence in the bathroom that would open up the business to being sued for also allowing that.
I believe the way that this would operate would expose a business to double liability, where I have a reasonable expectation of privacy, and if somebody is taking pictures of me in a bathroom, that's a problem if that's their only way to prove it. Because what are they going to do, like citizen's arrest? Give me your ID, give me your fingernail. I got to prove that you're a woman.
Next, it's headed to the House floor. Another bill would require cities and counties to align their anti-discrimination ordinances with state law, repealing local protections for members of the LGBTQIA community. Supporters say House Bill 557 creates consistency statewide.
Local anti-discrimination ordinances are often weaponized against different businesses and people. I know that's not the intention, but that's what has happened.
Opponents argue it allows for discrimination on fair housing, employment, and public accommodations.
When we have folks that move here and say, hey, am I welcome here? We have to say, well, unfortunately, in the event that this bill passes, the Idaho legislature, the state is saying you are not welcome here anywhere.
That bill is headed to the Senate State Affairs Committee. In a unanimous vote on another bill, the Senate Judiciary and Rules Committee is saying it wants to change Idaho's public records law. Alan Hodges has been fighting for this legislation after his 14-year-old daughter died in a bathtub from an epileptic episode, and then her photos were released.
There is some pretty disturbing photos of my daughter that passed away a few years ago from an epileptic seizure, and they're not protected.
The only resistance was from those who say the measure should go even further. That is now headed to the Senate floor. A bill cracking down on synthetic kratom is moving through the State House. The aim is to beef up consumer protection and safety around 7-OH, which the FDA considers an opioid. It would preserve access to natural kratom leaf while banning more potent artificial kratom. Idahoans, including those in the kratom industry, actually requested this legislation because they say they want clear, uniform standards to protect the public and distinguish legitimate products from unsafe ones. You likely have at least a few short-term rentals in your neighborhood, but are cities and counties going too far in regulating them? A bill moving through the Idaho legislature would limit those regulations. The sponsor of House Bill 583 says it's all about maintaining private property rights and making sure if someone wants to rent out their property on a short-term basis, they can without burdensome regulation. The bill would allow local governments to regulate short-term rentals only when those regulations are no different than the regulations on a home that someone is just living in. Again, supporters say it's about protecting private property rights, but opponents say they want to protect neighbors.
I have full respect for the rights of private property owners, which means I have respect for the homes that are located next to these short-term rentals. So in essence, we are relying on citizens to be the ones that are enforcing the law, reporting these individuals to their respective cities or counties to ensure that the law is being followed.
And I understand the thought of, the neighbors, but I believe, like, we talk about local control a lot here. The localist control is that property owner. They should be the ones in control of their property.
The bill passed 54-16. It is now headed to the Senate.